In the bustling heart of ancient Athens, the air is alive with the sounds of daily life. Children's laughter, merchants' calls, the distant clatter of sandals against sun-baked stone. Amid the movement, under the gentle shadow of an olive tree, sits a young boy with a thoughtful gaze. His fingers work quietly, carving simple symbols into a lump of clay, his eyes tracking the interactions of those around him. He is Socrates, born of modest means to a stonemason and a midwife, quietly absorbing the world with a curiosity that sets him apart. The city unfolds around him, a tapestry of voices, colors, and ideas. Even as a child, Socrates is more observer than participant, watching, learning, and letting the questions form quietly within. The streets are narrow and winding, filled with the hum of a civilization at its height. Yet for Socrates, the true richness lies not in the marble and gold, but in the patterns of human thought and exchange. As the years pass, the call of duty arrives. Socrates, now a young man, dons the armor of a hoplite, bronze breastplate gleaming in the pale morning light, helmet set aside for a moment of reprieve. The battlefield is a place of dust and wind, the clangor of shields and the cries of the wounded echoing across the plains of Potidaea. Amid chaos, Socrates is unwavering. He moves through the fray, not with the lust for glory, but with steadfast courage. A comrade falls, injured and bleeding. Socrates kneels beside him, lifting him with careful strength, shielding him from harm as arrows thud into the dirt nearby. His face is set, not in anger, but in determination and compassion. The dust settles, the sun dips low, and Socrates carries the wounded man to safety, his calm presence a quiet pillar in the storm. The battlefield is harsh, but Socrates emerges unbroken, his courage rooted in conviction, not violence. In the years that follow, the Agora becomes Socrates' new battlefield, a place of words, not weapons. He stands barefoot among philosophers, poets, and merchants, the marketplace a swirl of debate and commerce. Socrates, now older, his beard curled and his eyes alight with curiosity, engages a boastful poet, his tone gentle yet probing. "What is wisdom?" he asks, his questions digging deeper with each answer. The poet, confident at first, begins to falter as Socrates peels back the layers of certainty, revealing the limits of his understanding. Around them, students take note, watching as Socrates guides the conversation, not with force, but with inquiry. His hands move in expressive gestures, drawing invisible lines in the air, inviting those around him to think rather than merely accept. The agora thrums with life. Columns rise in the background, scroll sellers call out, and the affairs of the city continue. Yet within this circle, time seems to slow, the pursuit of truth taking precedence over the noise of daily life. Word of Socrates spreads, and soon, the question of his wisdom reaches the Oracle at Delphi. Socrates stands before the sacred temple, its columns glowing in the golden light, the air thick with incense and anticipation. The high priestess Pythia emerges, her voice echoing through the marble halls. Socrates is the wisest of men. Socrates is bewildered, his humility unshaken. He walks the streets of Athens, seeking to test the oracle's words. He questions politicians, craftsmen, and generals, each encounter a search for those wiser than himself. Yet everywhere he turns, he finds arrogance and pretense, while his own wisdom lies in recognizing his ignorance. The city, painted in warm golds and cool grays, becomes a stage for his quest. Socrates' humility stands in stark contrast to the pride of those he questions, his calm presence a quiet challenge to the powerful. Through this journey, Socrates comes to understand the paradox. True wisdom is knowing how little one truly knows. In the shaded courtyards of Athens, Socrates' influence grows. He sits among young followers, Plato with his keen eyes, Xenophon, attentive and earnest. Socrates speaks softly, drawing circles in the sand, his words weaving patterns of logic and wonder. Overhead, the sky seems to shimmer, subtle symbols of wisdom, stars, geometric shapes, hinting at the invisible world of ideas that Socrates brings to life. The students listen, captivated not by doctrine, but by the method, questions unfolding into more questions, the mind stretched and refined. Socrates teaches by example, his humility and curiosity infectious. The world slows around him, the rustle of leaves and the distant music of a lyre blending with the murmur of thought. The courtyard is alive with possibility, the seeds of philosophy planted in eager minds, destined to flourish long after Socrates himself is gone. But Athens is changing. The scars of war run deep, the city's glory dimmed by strife and suspicion. Socrates walks the streets alone, the laughter and warmth of earlier days replaced by whispers and wary glances. Torn flags flutter in the wind, the air heavy with uncertainty. In the shadows, figures like Alcibiades and Critias move, men once associated with Socrates, now symbols of the city's turmoil. The crowd's disapproval grows, their suspicion fueled by fear and rumor. Socrates remains unchanged, his calm undisturbed by the storm around him. He bears the weight of their judgment with quiet dignity, his tired eyes reflecting both sorrow and resolve. The day of reckoning arrives. The great marble courtroom is filled with the citizens of Athens, 500 jurors, their faces a tapestry of admiration, resentment, and confusion. Socrates stands alone, barefoot as always, his robe worn but his bearing unbowed. He speaks not to sway the crowd, but to remain true to himself. The unexamined life is not worth living. His words hang in the air, challenging, unsettling. Some faces soften with understanding, others harden in anger. Socrates' calm is unshaken, his inner strength shining through in the stillness of his posture, the clarity of his gaze. The trial is not merely a judgment of one man, but a test of a city's soul. In the quiet of his prison cell, Socrates faces his end. The room is dim, his followers gathered close, their grief palpable. Crito leans in, seeking final words. Socrates, serene, lifts the cup of hemlock, his expression at peace. "We owe a rooster to Asclepius," he whispers, a final gesture of gratitude for the healing of the soul. He drinks, then lies back, his breath slowing, his presence undiminished. There is no struggle, no drama, only the quiet passing of a man who lived as he taught, with courage and grace. The scene fades to white, music and voices dissolving into stillness. Yet Socrates' legacy does not fade. Plato writes by lamplight, his scrolls preserving the questions that shaped a civilization. Across centuries, Socrates' name endures, engraved in stone, whispered in classrooms, illuminated on chalkboards where the Socratic method lives on. Statues rise in his honor, libraries echo with his spirit, and the stars themselves seem to trace his name across the night sky. His life, humble and profound, reminds us that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in daring to ask the right questions. Socrates, a man who lived without fear and taught us how to think.